Nukeproof Mega or Nukeproof Reactor. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at both to help you decide which one should be your next off-road machine. Nukeproof have two class-leading mountain bikes on the market right now in the shape of the trail-focused Reactor and the enduro-dominating Mega. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive into both of the bikes. But before we do, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you know when we've uploaded a fresh video. I'm joined by Team CRC racer Kelan Grant to take us through the differences between the Nukeproof Mega and the Reactor. And later on in the video, Kelan will be putting the two bikes head to head. So Kelan, let's start with the Mega. Tell us about where you've been racing it, how long you've been riding it for.
Been riding the Mega now for over 4 years, and I've been on the 29er since 2016. We've been developing all the way from the alloy right up to the carbon now. 29er Mega's been my race bike now for 4 years, and yeah, I've been loving it.
And you ride the carbon version at the moment?
At the moment, yeah, the carbon version's out, so it's a wee bit more up to date with geometry and travel and compared to the older ones, and yeah, it's my go-to bike right now.
And have you chosen the 290 version because of your height?
I think the wheel choice is more of a preference thing. You see people choosing mullets and 29ers and 650B, but I think it's more of a preference, but height can play a role in the wheel choice, definitely.
And tell us about the suspension travel on the Mega.
So the new carbon 29er, it's up-to-date geometry, so we've got a slacker head angle, steeper seat tube for climbing, and more travel for those aggressive descents. So we've got 160mm travel in the back, and the team use a 180 fork in the front for those bigger rockier styly WSs like South America and California, dry, rough conditions.
And what advantages does a slacker head angle give you when you ride in these steep or rocky, difficult trails?
So with a slack head angle, obviously a slacker does, you have more wheel out the front of the bike, so it just gives that more of a stable platform compared to something that might be a wee bit steeper and better for climbing. So it's trying to find a balance of the both. But yeah, we just opt for a bigger fork that actually slackens it out that little bit more for the more aggressive terrain.
You've mentioned the wheels you've been running on this bike, they're 29-inch. What about the tyres and the inserts?
Yeah, so on the Mega, the race bike, we're on a full 29er Mavic wheel with DH22 Michelin tyres. So the tyre here we have is like a wire bead, so it's a wee bit more robust and get away with a bit more in the rocky conditions, and also a full ARD insert setup on both wheels just for punctures and snake bites and stuff like that. Yeah,
and what about the finishing kit? So the dropper seat post, the bar, the stem?
So full drivetrain and finishing kits from SRAM. So we've got a 170mm dropper, 1x12 Eagle drivetrain, and then all the rest of the components are kitted out with Nukeproof Horizon stem, bars, grips. Yeah, everything's top end on this bike at the minute.
And how are you finding the Eagle drivetrain? What difference has that made on big climbs or tough, fast descents?
It's got a great ratio on the bike from climbing all the way to descending. It's very rare you'd use the bottom of the block, but you use the top of the block quite a lot for climbing, and it saves the legs on big, massive enduro days.
Sounds like you must be doing massive descents, really high-speed descents. Tell us about the brakes on this thing. They must be pretty good.
So we've got Code RS brakes, which when it comes up to a 15 to 20 minute stage, you can settle for nothing less. 200mm rotors front and rear for just that extra bit of power when the hands aren't feeling completely fresh. But yeah, full top spec, organic pads, need all the stopping power you can get, especially in the longer stages. All right, here we are, climbing up for run number 1. Starting off with a trusty Mega 29er. This is a 2019 race bike, so she's set up for going fast. Looks pretty wet, rocky and loose, so there's a bit of trail. I'm hoping the Mega will make up some time on the Reactor. No brakes, flat out fast riding. Run 1 on the Mega, 160mm travel on the back, 180 in the front. This thing should just eat up this first bit of trail. Maybe be a wee bit slower on the last bit, but hopefully we can make up some time now. Let's do it. Straight in. Oh, that was a big compression. That is bigger than I thought. Rocky. That's where you need all the grip of a bigger bike. Oh, it's ruts and rocks everywhere. Oh, yes. This is fast. one of the faster bits of the track. Eating it up. Oh, this is where all the pedaling happens. Coming into the trail centre now. Bit smoother. Still nice though. Flowing well. Woo! Oh, this bike's giving it. Bit of an uphill now. Oh, the lungs are burning. Oh, this is a slog. This is just all up. Oh, seats up. This is tough. Finish is just right up here. I'm gonna stop there at the logs. Oh.
Right, let's get onto the Reactor.
So the Reactor is my go-to bike, maybe on like an easier day. Pretty much ride the same trails as I would in my Mega day to day, but if I wanted to get up the climbs easier, save the legs a bit, shorter spin, yeah, I'd go for that on the Reactor. Maybe less of an up and down style ride and a wee bit more of an adventure style riding with a big loop.
Yeah, an all-day riding machine.
An all-day riding machine, yeah. It's a mint bike. It's got two settings. It's got the trail or rail setting. Obviously your trail is just for a wee bit more cross-country style pedaling, riding, and then your rail is for your wee bit more descent, a bit more aggressive, slacking out that head angle, lower the bottom bracket, just so you're a wee bit more stable on the bike.
Tell us about the travel on the Reactor.
The Reactor, we're running 130 on the back and 160 on the front. So the optimum sort of geometry here in Ireland for routes and rocky trails. They don't get too aggressive or too steep. Perfect for an all-day adventure. It's not too much travel to carry around all day. And yeah, just a perfect little playful trail bike.
Yeah, yeah. And it's 290 as well. It's also available in 275. You opted for the 290 because that's what you run on the Mega?
Basically just run 29 wheels in all my bikes. It's something I'm used to. It's not something I swap back and forth for anything now. So it's just 29 all the way for me.
Do you think 27.5 will be not a thing in 5 years' time?
I don't think it'll be not a thing, but it'll definitely be a bigger ratio to 29ers compared to the smaller wheels now. Again, it's back to preference, and as you said, height. Not everyone's able to run a 29 wheel with the sizes of bikes. Not a lot of them going down to small. So 650B will be an option for a lot of people, but definitely see 29 taking over massively in the next 3 to 4 years.
Okay, cool.
At the minute, we're just running the Wild Enduro on the Reactor, front and rear. It's muddy conditions here at home. It's a wee bit lighter and rolls just a little bit better than the 22s. So it's better for that sort of like, if you're doing that trail riding all day sort of thing, just rolls that little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. What about the cockpit setup on the two bikes? Do you just run the cockpit the same for the two?
A little bit of a longer stem on the Mega, and we run a new prototype Horizon bars to give you that just a little bit extra reach. When you get up to high speeds, you want that little bit more room in your cockpit just to manoeuvre around the bike and just be a wee bit more stable. As for the Reactor, it's a bit slower speeds, more playful, hoppy. I have a shorter stem on it, a little bit closer to me, and a lot more nimble. So not much difference. We're talking 5mm, but makes a little bit of a difference. Run number 2 on the Reactor now. So smaller travel bike, not as aggressive, maybe not as fast on that flat out stony mucky stuff. But geez, this thing climbs so good. It's bits like this. Might have to just be a wee bit more aware of where my wheels are, be a wee bit more precise with my lines. It's not going to be quite as stable, this bike, as the big travel Mega, but I think it should be fine. Run 2, Nukeproof Reactor. Let's see how it handles this rough muddy stuff. And go. Oh, straight off the bat. Oh, that's a bit rougher, but we're good, we're off. Oh, it just picks up speed so much quicker. Oh, we're into the rough stuff now. Oh, yeah. This is flat out. Good gap jump here. Oh, smiley. We're on the gas. Oh, she accelerates quick, this thing. This is where it belongs now, in the trail centre. Oh, it's way faster. We're on a good one here. Oh, so much harder on the pedals. Woo! Definitely moving a bit quicker than the Mega. All the way to the line. Oh, you can see it. Oh. Oh. Ah. Finish.
So what about a person, a rider, a weekend warrior, they go to the trail centre, they're not fussed on natural trails so much. Which bike would you be pointing towards?
Definitely pointing towards the Reactor. If someone is going to be more trail based, maybe a bit more trail centre, do like more natural off-road stuff the odd time, the Reactor is definitely the bike for them. It's easier to cart around, it's playful, it's easier to hop, and just a wee bit more nimble for that style of riding, and a wee bit more basic, definitely the Reactor.
What if you want to throw in some bike park, some natural riding, some big all-day epics in the mountains, you know, proper off-road mountain bike stuff?
If you're going to go a wee bit more rougher on the bike, definitely for the Mega. It's a wee bit more robust when it comes to extreme conditions, maybe a wee bit more support and stability in the bike when it comes to technical zones and stuff like that. So maybe the Mega if you're going to be doing more big alpine style riding as well as longer descents.
And I guess like most things in cycling, a lot of this stuff is just down to personal preference.
It's down to personal preference. You'd definitely be more comfortable and stable on the rougher stuff on the Mega, but then you have to pedal it back up as well, which is a little bit harder than the Reactor.
I'm ready. Bosh, bosh, bosh. Bosh, bosh, bosh. I could do like a training video. Bosh Mega, Bosh Reactor, Bosh, bosh, bosh. Ba-da-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum.